Welcome back to Nick Lenz's movie review, episode not movie review. Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic slash non-classic. This is episode number 1073 and episode 967. I got two Marvel trades. First up is The Mighty Thor, Volume 3, The Shi'ar Asgard War. Oh, the Asgard Shi'ar War. Collecting Mighty Thor 13 to 19. This is technically the second volume for this series. Now, the rating, of course, shown here is still done by Jason Aaron, obviously. Say about that. Yes. Yeah. With artwork by Russell Dermont and Steve Epting. Yes. Steve Epting does the first two issues in here. The rest, of course, are done by Russell Dermont with Ballerino Shatti, who's the artist for Tony Stark Iron Man. The cover art is done by Russell Dermont and Matthew Wilson, who's the colorist in here. Yeah. First, you have a two-parter of the reunion of the League of Realms. Yeah, where it's like the original team. The only replacements they made is that they replaced the original Thor with female Thor, and they added Lady Sif and Angela to the group. Which, of course, Rosalind Solomon, who's one of the people in the group, she refers to them as the Token Avengers. Yep. And their job? Pure and simple. Take down frickin' Malekith and free the queen of the dark elves, of the light elves. So, yeah. And apparently Roz is like the fact that everything is like going not according to plan. But in the end, they do free the queen, who basically gets a forced kiss from Malekith. Like, ew. Okay. Also kind of burns, but they do save her. But, yeah. The whole point of this, well, we sort of set up for the very next story arc. The war between Asgard and Shi'ar. Though it's not full war anyways. It's a really exciting epic. In case you're wondering, where the heck is the original Thor in all this? Well, he's off in Unworthy Thor during this period of time. Yep, that's where he is throughout the whole of these issues. Oh yeah, and that's League of Realms? Yeah, because they mentioned originally they were meant to... They were first assembled to work for the League of Congress, the realms of the Congress of Realms. And here they're doing stuff on their own terms. Yeah, though Ross Solomon does not take part in the next storyline. Yeah, apparently Thor is taken by the Shi'ar. This is, of course, female Thor. Of course, how that storyline starts up is quite interesting. You have Heimdall just stand at the Bifrost Bridge, and then he gets punched, and he sees like, hey, I've seen you before. And who is it? It's freaking Gladiator. Yes, Gladiator. I'm like, what? What the heck is Gladiator? A character from the X-Men comics doing in Thor? Well, he beats up Heimdall and starts a big brawl in the throne room. Eventually, it takes Mule Thor to the gods of the Shi'ar, who are not very nice people. And they do these series of challenges for the female Thor. Eventually, Lady Sif convinces Kull, who is the regent of Asgard, thanks to, of course, Odin being, well, busy taking care of his wife, who was stabbed by, I think, Loki. Yeah, stabbed by Loki. And, yeah, that's what happened recently. Loki works with Malekith here, though he doesn't work for very long. Yep. So, yeah, then, of course, Thor goes to the Jane Foster, who, when they first see her, like, out of Thor, she's basically, apparently, she's been vomiting all over the room, basically, because she's going through chemo. And her hammer's in the room with her. Yep. And so, like, you have 9 days. Yep. And then eventually she battles, like, goes through the trials, basically quits a lot of them, and basically fights them one-on-one. And, well, wipes the floor with them. And there's a reference to Gore in here. It's like, I really wish they would kill you instead of my friends. Yeah, that's what he thought Gore should have done. In case you're wondering who Gore is, he was the first villain that was created by Jason Aaron when he started his run for Thor back in 2012. He was only in the first 11 issues before he died in issue 11. Yeah, he's dead. This is probably by far the first reference to him since the opening 11 issues of this run. That last issue came out in 2013. So by the time this storyline came out, which was... Well, this run started in 2015 because it's a relaunch. So this came out roughly like last year. So, of course, Volstagg is basically boasting in Congress. Of course, he takes the audacity to eat a piece of chicken while he's talking. Yep. And while this is going on, basically, Sif basically points out that, hey, you're the god of fear, act like it. So, yeah, he points out some stuff that he did during, like, where's the serpent, per se, that was exists during fear itself. Cole Borson is like, screw this. Let's go out and take on the frickin' Asgard with our wooden ships and arrows. Yes, wooden ships in space. Awesome. Yep. And he basically gets a big brawl with Gladiator, which is awesome. And of course, Thor does defeat the gods of the Shi'ar. And because of some rules they broke while activating the frickin' Phoenix Force, luckily enough that Thor, I think it was Thor, Lady Sif, and I think Angela went to go visit one person. Yeah, somehow they found Quentin Quintire in all this, and he's like talking about how he's a potential like future host of the Phoenix Force. So they bring him in. Phoenix Force is unleashed. This is by far the first Phoenix Force has been seen at this point in time when it showed up here. This is the first time it showed up since Avengers vs. X-Men. Yeah, this came out roughly last year, and this is the first time actually in about 6 years. Though it would show up after this in the pages of the Return of the Phoenix Resurrection Jean Grey miniseries that came out late last year, which was really good, by the way. Yep. So Quentin Quintana makes deal with, hey, this sounds like he's future avatar. Hey, can I briefly be host for you for a little while? He's like, sure, why not? And he eventually stops it, and of course, the gods of Shi'ar are taken into custody for their bullcrap nonsense. Also, these gods basically also make out in the book because, well, they can. This is unenforced possibly almost destroy the galaxy because the fact they broke a lot of laws, and, well, the Keeper basically apologizes for their actions, apologizes for bringing them there, and they go home, and, of course, setting up the very next arc, of course. And it turns out that the whole thing with the gods of Shi'ar, that was a distraction caused by Malekith, setting up the War of the Realms, which would happen just this year. Yep, at least that event had build up to it. And plus also we have set up for the War Thor stuff. Yep, which happens in the very next story, which I think the trailer for that just came from the library. I'll pick up this week. This book is really good. This book, a 9.5 out of 10. Really good. Also, the original shows up at the very end, references the events of his miniseries he was in, and mentioning that apparently no one could see Odin for some strange reason, despite the fact you could listen to him. Though, basically, the book also sets up the return of Mogog. Yep, Mogog. Yeah, this awesome villain. Yeah, making his return in probably about 20, 30 years. Yep, though he becomes the main villain in the very next couple story arcs, right? Next up, it is the Infinity Countdown Companion. Yeah, why am I not reviewing Infinity Countdown? Because, well, I thought I'd go look over the side stuff first, then review the main event. This book contains 3 one-shots and a 2-issue miniseries. Infinity Countdown for Black Widow, Captain Marvel, Daredevil, and Champions. Who writes these books? The Captain Marvel book is done by Jim McCam, who's actually not the writer of the Captain Marvel book at the point. This is actually by far, at the time, this is the first Captain Marvel book and featured her since the end of her volume, which ended early last year, about a couple years, and ended a few issues, when we returned to original numbering. Daredevil was done by Gary Duggan. Another book not done by its regular writer. The only book that actually is done by the regular writer is basically Champions, done by Jim Zeb. That's the only one that is. The other ones are not. Gary Duggan does also the Black Widow one-shot. The Captain Marvel one is basically Captain Marvel with the Reality Stone, goes to various realities and convinces so that, yeah, probably she should have stopped Civil War too. It's kind of part of redemption for her, and of course, the book opens up with her basically dealing with the aftermath of her battling Battlestar. I mentioned at the end of the one shot she does battle Battlestar, but look how she's causing damage. Daredevil 1 is basically Daredevil versus Turk. Yes, Turk. A guy who was a recurring villain in Daredevil comics, mostly a minor villain. And he kind of basically got the appearance similar to that of his TV show counterpart. He's got the Soul Stone. What does he do with it? Build himself an empire despite the fact he's told to break take the Avengers. Yep. That's all. Just sort of that. The Black Widow one basically just explores like some stuff related to her rescuing children. That's basically what that one is. The Champions one actually does tie into what goes on in the main book. Basically, Nova finds out Warbringer's back after, and of course they mention his first two appearances in the pages of All No Different Avengers, the first few issues, and of course toward the end of the second last volume of Nova series. During the last few issues, we made his return. So he shows up here, and of course he teams up with the Champions, which at the time basically was Jim Zebron, and he only manages to get Ironheart, Miss Marvel, the Nitty Pin Wasp, and Vision. They go to space, and of course Scott Aston from the Gary Duggan Deadpool run shows in the book, and I do not like how Jim Zebron writes him. He finds, oh yeah, Nova Sam said basically, well, talking to me, basically he goes and frees, he takes on the Warbringer, and beats up Professor Shatari. Thanos appears in the book briefly, though he doesn't really do much of anything. And they mention other Thanos, hey, can't see how much I get something. And so he takes him like, bye, you need proper training. We're not giving you proper training. I'm like, really, dude? Why the heck would you trick him to give him his helmet? Yeah, lucky enough, this is followed up with in the next line for Champions, where he does get his helmet back. And as far as he doesn't punch Scott Aston for basically taking away his helmet. He should for the bullcrap he pulled. Basically, he tricked them to give away his helmet just because he's young and he's not trained. So what? Give him frickin' train, you idiot. That's what I would do. But the thing is, Sam technically doesn't need training to become a Nova. He's been Nova at this point for probably about 2-3 years. And he's done pretty good with it. And Richard Rider approves of it. Yeah, I kind of convinced that maybe Richard Rider to talk to him and says, hey, I've been a Nova a lot longer than you have, man. And he has my approval. So leave him alone. Yeah, but I'll talk about that more when I get a chance to have the Champions trades, which I haven't got a Champions trade in quite a while. This is the first trade I got my hands on the Champions trade in since I got my hands on Champions Volume 3. I'm hoping to get my hands on Volumes 4 and 5 and basically maybe going to go to Comic-Con in a couple months. Yep. But this book is still pretty good. This book, a 9.5 out of 10 is really good. I love the artwork they have in here. Now, the interior artwork for the Champions issues, the artwork, the cover art here, along with the cover of the trade, is done by Clayton Crane. The interior work for Captain Marvel is done by Diego Orlatia. Daredevil is done by Chris Spruce, Phil Noto, and Lee Ferguson. Emil Lisa does Champions, and as for Black Widow, it's Nick Verla and Brent Skinover. Yep. But yeah. But there's actually one other companion book related to Infinity, and it's a mini-series for Darkhawk. I'll may get my hands in the future, along with the Infinity Countdown book, which leads into Infinity Wars. Yes, at least Duggan had the decency to actually have a build-up to his big crossover event, unlike with Bendis with Civil War 2, where we had zero build-up to it. At least Secret Empire, despite how awful it was, at least that had build-up to it. Yeah, Civil War 2 is by far the only crossover scene of recent memory that has zero build-up. I mean, as far as I can tell, yeah, the only slight build-up it had kind of basically going forward was stuff with the Humans and the X-Men, which that portion, the tie-in for it, just basically led into Death of X and the Humans vs. X-Men. Yep. But not much else to say about these two trades. They're both really good, okay? So yeah, that's it for this particular review. My next review is going to be a review of the newest episode of One Piece, along with another movie review and another comic corner. Yep. But to this next review. Bye.